Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
And I'm Jaime Fuego.
And this is your Horror Show news. Our top story tonight involves the long gestating, long in development hell adaptation of Steve Alten's bestseller Meg, a novel of deep terror. Now this movie has been sort of in development in 3 different studios over the past nearly 20 years since the book came out in the mid-90s, and it's nice to see that it's finally supposedly got its home back at Warner Brothers, on track, again, supposedly for a 2017 release. The book tells the story of Jonas Taylor, a scientist that makes the discovery that the long-thought extinct cousin of the great white shark, otherwise known as Carcharodon megalodon, is in fact not quite as extinct as everyone is led to believe up until this point. A Meg rises to the surface and starts to wreak havoc in an awesome mixture of both Jurassic Park and Jaws. So it's a movie that I've been following the development of ever since the book came out years ago, and I'm excited to see that it's finally on track. The past iterations of it have been railroaded by poor performance of similar creature-ish movies, one being Mighty Joe Young, the other being Deep Blue Sea at one point, killed the production of Meg. So here's hoping that the studio doesn't get cold feet and sees the value in a ginormous shark. And if not, you guys, let's just say this isn't a movie you want to see go extinct after this long or remain extinct.
And for our next story, we're going to be getting into a double dose of Scream for audiences. This summer there are actually 2 different series, one on Fox and one on MTV, to take note of. First that will be hitting is June 30th, when Scream is actually being re-envisioned as a television series. So it's going to be joining Teen Wolf as part of their original horror content, which is kind of exciting. And some bigger news this week, at least for horror fans, was the revelation of the new Scream mask, which is not exactly your typical ghost face that we're used to from the previous film series. It's a little more of a nod to Friday the 13th in some instances, or at least in some judgments, but you can be the judge of that yourself. Next up, there is the debut at Comic-Con of Scream Queens, not to get the 2 confused, and that is actually with a lot more star power. It boasts a cast that includes Jamie Lee Curtis. There's also reoccurring cast of Ariana Grande, Nick Jonas, so yeah, it kind of seems a little bit more like tailored for the Glee crowd, which is actually who created this new show. They're making their debut at Comic-Con, and there's supposed to be a mixture of both scares and laughs in this particular production, so looking forward to it.
For our third story today, IGN recently reported about an interview done overseas with Kevin Bacon, where they were talking to him about a recent project, and he actually mentioned that because it is now the official 25th anniversary of Tremors, which was originally released in 1990 and quickly became a cult hit amongst horror fans, he actually said that he would be keen to return to the character and see what he might be up to 25 years later. Of course, Tremor fans know that he played the character called Val McKee, his best friend Earl. He and Earl were the maintenance men for the town of Perfection, Nevada, which was largely unpaved, which turned out to be many of the residents' downfall when they're attacked by humongous underground man-eating worms, which is one of my all-time favorite horror movies because, as everyone knows, I'm a big creature movie guy, and this was one of the earliest ones that really freaked me out. So there is supposedly a Tremors 5 on the way, coming straight to DVD. Who knows if they're going to be smart and take this news and actually approach him to do a little cameo, maybe set up a Tremors 6 or a Tremors reboot where he comes back in as Val and shows everyone what's what as far as these worms go. But to say the least, Kevin Bacon has certainly graboided my attention.
I see where you went with that, indeed.
Just kill me now.
Yeah. In our final story of the day, it is time to bid a fond farewell to Mr. Rick Baker, who is one of the most influential for practical effects within the entire history of the industry, having worked on everything from Ed Wood and King Kong to most notably Star Wars, and he's officially hanging up the gloves after a whopping 7 different Academy Award wins. He has been so influential, and apparently him walking away from the creations that he loves is based on the fact that it is so much cheaper at this point within the industry to create CGI as opposed to practical. Studios are looking for what they describe as quick and inexpensive, and unfortunately Rick's process is just far too detailed and meticulous and impressive for him to continue operating a shop. So we wish Rick the best, and we thank him for all the wonderful memories that, whether they were wonder or scares or everything of that nature, he was a legend within the industry, and we're honestly sad to see him go. So cheers to Rick.
Luckily, he does say he's going to continue on in a consultant capacity. It won't be quite as magical. He won't have his hands on all the creations anymore, but he'll at least be able to coach people on how to maybe make the CG look better. Who knows? But yeah, it's a bit of a loss for the cinema world. We're going to jump into the slight editorial section here. So Jaime, what do you think about the news stories? Are you excited about any of these? Or
I'm a little bit more excited about Scream Queens than I realized that I would be, and the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be in it, I'm extremely excited about.
I'm actually excited for Scream because I've seen the promos, and they basically are panning across an entire party just full of the aftermath of a killer. Ghostface has come through and slaughtered everyone, and they're all just dead bodies slowly revealed in a pan around the room. So I'm like, okay, cool. And it's cool. The last body is the main guy from Teen Wolf with a knife in his head falling over. So
nice.
Yeah, it's a cool little thing
nod
for the MTV crowd. So yeah, it starts at the end of this month, at the end of June. So I think that's going to be worth checking out. And of course, I'm super excited about Meg.
Yeah,
I mean, I have
yet to read the books as you have.
There have been 4, and a 5th is coming out this summer in the Meg series. So if you guys like Jaws, or you like summer blockbuster books that are just, a massive shark eating people in various situations, then check out the Meg series by Steve Alton. He's incredible.
Yeah, it sounds right up my alley. Myself and this gentleman love seeing creatures chewing on people. So,
speaking of, how about that Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Bacon, Tremors is one of my personal favorite series. I'm very excited about the 5th installment that's supposed to have Jamie Kennedy and, lots of wackiness in it. It's supposed to take place in South Africa. Fingers firmly crossed it's not terrible, but I think our true return to form would come with Kevin Bacon.
Absolutely. So I think that just about covers it for the editorializing, you guys. They don't come here for that. They come here for the horror news. So That's what we were here to deliver. So stay tuned, you guys. We will be back in the future with more horror show news. But for now, thanks for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias. I've been Jaime and Fuego.
And remember,
stay scared.